Hello and welcome to pre-New York live stream, and we have interest rate news from GBP in about 10 minutes. So we will look to see if we can find some trade, and in the meantime we will also draw our bias to potentially where prices can move on this GBP news. All right. If we look at higher time frame, the higher time frame is bullish. Sorry, is not bullish. Wait a second. If we look at this monthly time frame, the monthly candle is rejecting from 160 area and it is moving up. The previous monthly candle has moved down. This monthly candle is only 4 days old. We don't know if we will keep pushing up or continue pushing down. However, there is a probability that unless we didn't break above the high of previous monthly candle, there is probability we will keep pushing down. If we look at weekly time frame, the previous weekly candle closed bearish. The current weekly candle almost a day and a half left in this candle to close is moving up. We have already created a lower wick. We have almost rejected like 300 pips from the low, and we are moving up. For now, if we look at weekly, we are approaching a potential resistance almost 60 pips away, 80 pips away in weekly time frame. This resistance is at 164.500 area. If we look at daily time frame, the previous two daily candles were bullish. The current daily candle also moving up with little to no retracement. We have already moved like 130 pips in bias, and we have already approached a potential resistance level in H4 time frame. This is a potential resistance, and yeah, uh, this is also a potential resistance where prices are now. And if we go to daily 1 hour time frame, we can see that we are moving up straight. In previous 6 hours we have moved like 120 pips in buys, and if we look at H4, let's draw this support zone. We have already a support zone in this area. Zone, I mean resistance. This is basically resistance around 12 pips away, and the whole idea is the hourly candles are pushing up. We are moving up in previous 6 hours, and if we look at calendar, they are it is expected that they will increase rates by 50 basis point, and the news is already priced in my opinion, and there is a issue of inflation all over the world, so there is probability that we will drop due to inflation, although they will increase rates, but the down move can also happen. We can retest this area at least 50 pips, 163 area, just because of inflation. So I am also looking to execute a trade, but I will not execute on news candle. I will execute after this candle is closed. After one 15-minute candle closes after news. So we are basically just watching what happens on this GBP interest rate news, and also let's see if we can get some good execution on GBP JPY. In gold I have executed this trade. There was another good trade that basically occurred out of live streaming session. I didn't execute it on this, else I could have secured minimum 30-40 pips from this trade. So yeah, now we are just waiting in GJ. We are looking to see how current H1, M30 and M15 candle will close. News will also be out in 4 minutes. So basically waiting for candles to close isn't going to help us because of spread, because of slippages. So we will just watch, and we will also look at the spreads. We will look at the slippages that this broker provide, and we may execute later on, but at this point we are not executing on news candle. News will be out in around 3 minutes, and my whole analysis is there is probability we will drop and we will correct this entire move around 120 200 pips of this move, but it is just an anticipation. We need execution, we need better execution to execute on this. All right, we are moving down 2 minutes before the news release, and if we break below these lows, there is probability we will continue pushing down. That's why I have placed this sell stop. It is very small lot. It is just to test if this broker will give us slippage. So we will execute with our usual lot later on. This is just a test trade. Spread is around 4 pips, 4 pips, 3, 7 seconds left. news is now out. We are moving up. We moved straight up, and this is around 50 pips of move, and yeah, it was expected. I will execute short below this area. Spread is around 4 pips, and even on news time we are respecting the low of previous hourly candle. If we if our sell stop got activated, we will place a stop of around 27 pips, and yes, yeah, we our sell stop got active. SL at entry at this point. This whole trade was based on the fact that there is too much inflation. Even banks are unable to control that uh, inflation by increasing interest rates. This happened with all the interest rate news prior on. So I executed a short, which is now in 32 pips profit, and closed everything in 35 pips profit. It was no drawdown, straight profit trade, and yeah, this move was pretty much expected. The whole reason I used a small lot was because of the fact that it was news time, but our SL was very small, like 27 pips, and it never went in drawdown. This move was pretty much expected. H4 candle has now turned bearish. If we look at daily is rejecting from these areas. It is 120 pips of rejection. Weekly candle is also rejecting, and yeah, basically our whole analysis was correct, and we make some profits out of this trade. Actually, I should have used my full lot once prices started pushing up. Then I should have placed a sell stop with a full with my usual risk, and yeah, by placing a initial stop of 24 pips, I could have managed to position. If things go against me, I could have made like decent amount of money. But it was my idea that it was my trading plan that basically stopped me from placing full lot. Let's look at news. Yeah, we are basically done now on this news trade, and now we are waiting for New York session to open. We may execute a trade providing that we find something in gold or in GBP JPY. GBP JPY has already moved a lot, like 90 pips, and now we need to look at bigger picture. This is actually a very small M15 support. I am deleting this. Now there is probability we will at least drop till 161.500, which is almost 180 pips away, because we have volume, and yeah, yeah, actually that's what I was talking about. The upside was actually a liquidity grab, because this zone right in here is an H4 zone. Right in here we basically did a wick above this area and then continued pushing down. Hope so it has covered your losses, but I used a very small lot because of the fact that we were trading news. Gold is pushing up with so much volume. Today in gold we have moved like 200 pips up, and yeah, we are approaching 1785 strong resistance area. And on New York session open and comics open, we may get to execute a buy above this area. And if we get to execute a buy above this area, we need to look left to find where prices can potentially move. Yeah, it is an important H4 area. Above that area we have an other area at 1789, and above that we have another area at 1798. So this whole area is around 130 pips. And yeah, let's see what will happen. Now we are waiting for New York session to open, and we may get to execute something in gold. And let's look at And further on, there is no news for US dollar, so we are safe. Tomorrow we have NFP on US dollar. So let's see what will happen. And we are waiting in gold. The GBP press conference will be in 7 minutes and we may see some sort of volume in GBP. We are waiting in gold and in GBP JPY. We are just waiting for these candles to close. M30 candles are about to close in 1 minute, and if we look at gold, if we break above this area, we can potentially touch 1785 area, which is a small range. We are waiting. We may get to execute a pretty good trade later on. So why waste our chance for something that doesn't fit our criteria? 30-minute candle has closed a sort of like rejection candle. We are waiting for next 30-minute candle to close. We are waiting for New York session to open, and then maybe we get to get a trade, but for now we are waiting. Now today is the game of patience. We are waiting for New York session to open. We are waiting for these two candles, M15 candles, to close. We may get to execute a short position above 1785 area. On the other hand, we will also execute buys if we break above 1786 area. There is very high chances that we will drop till 161.500 area, or we will either drop or start consolidating in this area between 162.400 and 162.200. But let's see what will happen. H4 candle has broken below previous 6 candles low, and let's see where this H4 candle will close. In the meanwhile, current M30 candle don't have an upper wick, which may means we will create an upper wick first to potentially drop later on, but there is no information at this point. We are breaking above the highs, and M15 candle is about to close in 4 minutes. Let's see where this M15 candle will close. We are moving up. It is actually a good sign. We may get to execute shorts on NY open or at NYSE. So we are basically open to any situations. Yeah, GBP JPY is around 32 pips away from the target. This move in GBP JPY was pretty much expected, but I didn't execute it on this move because it basically happened at news time. 'In GBP JPY, the move for the day has already happened, and we are just waiting in gold for now. 15-minute candle has closed bullish, but we didn't close above these wicks. waiting for candles to close in about 14 minutes. Yeah, we are approaching 1785 area, which is a good sign. Now we are just waiting for these candles to close. And if we look at H4, the previous two H4 candles are very bullish. They went straight up with little to no retracement. And yeah, I believe that if we get some sort of sell indication at 1785, we can potentially correct this move till 1876. So let's see what will happen. Waiting for these candles to close, just 4 minutes left. We are moving up in previous 5 H1 candles, 6 H1 candles, and we are approaching an important H4 zone which is at 1785. We may reject from this area, but we want better confirmations. For that we are waiting. It is a good thing actually that we are moving up with so much volume, and now we need to see what prices do at this area at 1785 area. We have broken above this zone, and yeah, that's what I was waiting for. We are moving up before pre-NY, and we are moving up before NY session and before Comet Comics. And if we look yesterday, right in here, we were moving down before that area. We were moving down before NY open, and on Comet Comics, we just went straight up. This was the move on Comet Comics. It was around 50 pips of move, and this is what I am anticipating for Comet Comics. So yeah, we are just waiting. We need to wait for 20 more minutes for potential short execution. We now have a wick rejection to the left at 1789 area, and overall if we look at H1, it is a strong bullish trend, and if we look at H4, the H4 candle just moved up like 90 pips, so there is probability this whole range is a clean range now, around 84-85 pips of range. We may get to execute a short to potentially fill this range, but we want confirmations, so that's why we are waiting for. Yeah, H1 candle is now closed. H1 has closed a very strong bullish candle. We are moving up in first 1 minute, in less than the first 1 minute of this H1 candle, which is a very good thing. Now we are waiting for this M15 candle to close. If this M15 candle closes a bearish candle, I may execute a short on next 15-minute candle. If we look at GBP JPY, the move for the day is already over. Now I am anticipating that we will consolidate in this area, or at least we need to form some sort of support in here so that we can execute shorts once we start breaking below the lows. We can't execute short in here because where will our stop loss goes, and we can't also execute buys in here because there are no bullish candles in our favor. So in GBP JPY it is nothing in GBP JPY at this point. We will just avoid that and we will just focus on gold. Now all we need to do is to wait for current M15 candle to close. We have basically broken above this area in last 1 minute of this H1 candle, and yeah, there is nothing that we can do at this point. We need to wait. In GBP JPY we are also waiting. All right, gold is moving up. This move is around 12 pips, and the wick to the left is only 9 pips away at 1789. So let's see if we will break above that wick or we will just reject from there. Yeah, we have approached 1789 area. The wick to the left is now filled, and waiting for candles to close. Let's see how these candles will close. Basically, I am anticipating that we will get a move um, like this, and we will execute and secure at least to this week. I am anticipating this sort of price action in gold today, but let's see if we can get these sort of candles in here. It is just an anticipation at this point, but it may be correct, so we need to wait 7 more minutes. Let's wait for these candles to close, wait for Comet Comics to open. This trade that we closed basically at 38 pips. If we held on this trade, it will be in around 200 pips in profit, man. All right, 15-minute candle has closed bullish. So the Comet Comics is opening in 3 minutes, but we don't have any prior bearish candle on M15 time frame, so we will not execute on this Comet Comics, and we will just wait for at least one M15 candle to close in our favor. In we want at least one bearish M15 candle to potentially and start anticipating shorts. Uh, so at this point, Comet Comics is now open. There is little volume so far on Comet Comics open. So it makes sense at this point to just wait for these candles to close, wait for 10 more minutes. Yeah, man, it looks exactly similar to this candle. If it closes like this, but let's see how this candle will close. M15 closed like this, so we are waiting for this candle to close. Need to wait for 5 more minutes. I think market is just focusing on GBP JPY drop. They are not focusing on gold at this point. It's just an anticipation, and let's see how this M30 candle will close. It still don't have a lower wick, and 4 minutes left in this M30 candle to close. Yeah, we are creating a lower wick at this point. So basically, at this point, we uh, uh, we are just anticipating how these candles will close, and basically that's happening the way, and that's happening the same as we are anticipating. So it is a good thing actually. Let's see how this candle will close, and on next M15 candle we may get to execute a trade. And right in here, we are somewhere in here if we look back at price action, but it doesn't mean that we will drop like 200 pips from this area, but it means that we can get a decent trade right in here. All right, M30 candle has closed, and we are getting ready to execute shorts below this wick. Once we break below this wick, and there is probability we will get at least 18-19 pips from this trade. Yeah, we this candle is flipping bearish, but the whole idea is I also don't want to my trade to get activated in the first few minutes. Yeah, it gets activated. We need to be very careful with this trade. Closed in 10 pips. Yeah, 10 pips secured right in here. How was this trade, man? Secured around 0.91% of account today, still in losses. I am in drawdown and I am in losses. Losses are around 2.6% of this account. Still in losses, man. But it was a very good trade. I closed this trade early. I didn't held on to this trade because we basically broke below the low in first 5 minutes. That's why I closed this trade early. Else I would have hold this trade or at least close like 75% of this trade. So trading is basically a game of patience. We waited patiently for GBP JPY trade and we waited patiently for this gold trade, secured profits, and yeah, done for the day here. I executed this trade pretty early. Gold buy trade, this buy trade, man, it should be little bit above this area and I could have secured more profits today. And this is the way because we are just learning and I hope so in future we will make decent profits. In gold, there is probability that we will continue pushing down till 1776 area, which is around 60 pips away from this area from current market prices. And yeah, so today we basically took 5 trades. Two of them were losers, and three of them were profitable trades, and we s- we basically secured like 1% of account around 10 US dollars, and we basically have dropped from 46 US dollar loss to 26 US dollar profit. Basically, I made losses in the beginning. I made around 11 US dollar in loss in beginning, and now we have closed in 10 US dollar profit. So overall we are up around 21 US dollar, and our loss for previous four trading days has reduced to 26 US dollar instead of 46 US dollar in the start. So yeah, we are doing pretty good. Today was money making day. High volume Thursday. This week is very important week. I will go through individual trades at end of the week. This week I took around how many trades? I took around 1, 2, 3, 4, 14 trades. I have took around 14 trades, made profit on 5 trades and lost on 9 trades. And I am down around 6 US dollar and down around 8 US dollar in commissions. Overall, I am down around 15 US dollar, which is very good because I have 9 losers in a row, man. 9 losers in a row, and I am only down around point 0.6 US dollar, not counting the commissions. And it is a big achievement, I will say. It basically never happened to me in the past. gold, there is very high probability for prices to keep pushing down. This candle will be mover in my opinion, and we will, if we are to move down, there is no reason for prices to break above 1783.80 area. And if I executed a short on this candle, I would have held this short for at least 40 pips. Let's see if our prediction will be correct. And on the other hand, in 12 minutes, I was I will be closing some percentage of my position and putting stop losses to break even. My execution will be right in here. My execution will be right in here. Place a stop loss right in here around 14 pips, and yeah, I would have held this trade. But the whole problem is this M15 candle don't have an upper wick, so that would be a concern for me. We basically have created an upper wick on this M15 candle. Now the M5 candle has flipped bullish, closed bullish, and we are just waiting for next M30 candle to start, and maybe on next M30 candle we can keep pushing down, but we need to be very careful with our shorts because the trend in H1 is highly bullish, and this may be a retracement to continue pushing up later on. So we also need to keep that perspective in mind. We are just waiting in here. Uh, uh, Basically, we moved like 35 pips down, and our target for this trade, it was counter trend short term trade. Our target for this trade was basically completed. Now we are waiting for next M30 candle. We are looking to see if we will continue pushing down or not. Yeah, we are now pushing down. This move down wasn't a clean move down. So we basically moved down very slowly. And yeah, there is probability that we will hit 1776 area. The whole bias of that we anticipated by looking at 2 August move is now completed. We made profits, but this profit was small as compared to this move, and try to understand, it was counter trend move. I secured in 10 pips profit, as I knew from my past experience that we may consolidate or we may get another push up before continuing pushing down. Like in trades, for example, in this or in this, risk management is basically easy. In trades this one, it was based on pattern 3. If you go to my blog, you can see in more details what pattern 3 actually is. Basically, we moved all the way up. We have done a fake out above H4 area, so I was anticipating shorts. It was based on pattern 3, but in pattern 3 I have seen that we move down slowly. But these two trades, this trade was taken on pattern 1, and this trade I haven't took that trade, but it was based on continuation pattern. So in these two sort of setups, it is easy to manage risk, but in this pattern 3, it is difficult to manage risk. That's why I just closed everything when it went in profit. It was 62 pips of move, and I will take screenshot of this move because we have rare examples of pattern 3. And no, it was not a COMEX trade. It was a trade after COMEX Open. It was based on pattern 3. If you wanted to look at pattern 3, I will basically let me explain pattern 3 to you. Dan FX. Wait a few seconds in here. Alright, pattern 3. We will go to pattern 3 and yeah, right in here. Basically in pattern 3 we need few things. First of all, uh, look at these red lines. 1, 2, 3. We have 3 red lines. These are H4 zones. I have marked these zones by looking at H4 areas. So if we look in here, prices done a fake out below this area, moved all the way up and consolidated and then moved up. This was another H4 area. On same day, prices first of all did a fake out below H4 zone and above H4 zone. Once this M15 candle closed bearish, just execute a trade on a candle that starts to break below this M15 candle right in here. Entry will be right in here, stop loss will go above the wick. I have seen that this pattern basically appears a lot, and I trade on these patterns, and the working accuracy of this pattern is very high. So these are the conditions that needs to be fulfilled in order to execute based on pattern 3. So pattern 3, first of all, we need volume. We are moving up, so that we knew that there is volume in market. We consolidated and then moved up. Volume was in there. And if we look at this chart, I know from higher time frame trend that higher time frame trend is bearish. If we look at, let me show you. This was higher time frame trend. It was daily trend. We are creating wicks to the upside and keep pushing down. So the trend was bearish. We first of all did a, I was basically anticipating shorts at that time. We did a fake out below this strong H4 zone. We continued pushing up. This was a basically a retracement. in a trending market to continue pushing down. So that's my whole idea to execute on this trade. So the same trade appeared right in here. This was basically an H4 zone. We have done a fake out below this zone. We continued pushing up. We done a fake out above this area, 1784 area, which is also an H4 zone, important zone. And once this candle closed bearish and the next candle starts to break below the low, I executed this trade based on pattern 3, and although I secured small profit, but profit is profit. And the same thing basically happened in GBP JPY. I didn't basically executed this trade out of nowhere. My whole idea for this trade was that if we look at H4 time frame, we knew that we the overall picture is downtrend. We are moving up, so I was anticipating that we can create some sort of fake out above 163.700 area and continue pushing down. So as it was news time, I didn't get much confirmations, but I still executed once we starts to break below the H1 candle low, and it was just a variation of pattern 3. Executed on that, made profits, and that's it. So these two trades were taken on pattern 3. So basically, this whole trade went out perfectly, 65 pips, but I didn't uh, hold on to this trade. Actually, I should have closed some percentage of my position and let the rest run. And maybe in future we can do that because we are learning lot of things. So the down move in gold has completed our target, and yeah, basically we anticipated buys in here. Those buys do worked out. Later on, this trade based on continuation pattern happened out of live streams, and we then anticipated these shorts once we this candle was printing bullish, and we executed on that trade, or but I didn't hold on to that trade, and made around 1% on this trade. That's okay for me. And in GBP JPY I was anticipating this move, placed a sell stops, made profits, and yeah, that's it. In gold, this trade, this sell trade, a losing trade for today, I took off of live stream. It wasn't a very good idea to short gold at that point. Got stopped out. And yeah, that's all for today. I will see you guys later on tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. We will take it slow. And the important thing that we will do is going and reviewing all our trades on Sunday. That's very important thing at this point, because we took 14 trades in this week, and we took 14 trades in this week. We need to go over individual trades and see what we did right and what we did wrong. And overall, we are near about break even, $6 in loss, and $8 in commission. Overall, 14 US dollar in loss. We will go through each of these trades and look to see what could have done better. And I can easily spot that this trade, 10 US dollar loss, losing trade in gold, was a pretty bad trade, because I knew that it was bad trade. Why? We will go through each of those factors on Sunday, and for now I will just take a leave. See you guys later tomorrow.